Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Plum Wild podcast. It is Wednesday. Actually, I'm gonna try and put a little bit of music on this. I don't know. We'll see how it works. I don't know. We're gonna keep a little music going here, but it is Wednesday, Valentine's Day, February 14th. I'm Nathan Waddell, and as always, I'm joined in the booth by my best friend, Damian Kiefer.
Good morning.
All right. Tonight's episode is once again presented by Majula C Speed Shop. Majula C Speed Shop, I mean, I've said it, the past, I think, 6 weeks because they've been sponsoring the podcast. I mean, what more can I say? Over at Majula C, I mean, we win a lot of races. The community is very strong. I joined, and I'm very happy with where I'm at, and I don't think anyone would regret it really if they joined Majula C Speed Shop. So definitely, go to Majula C Speed Shop, or I'm sorry, CFMesports.com, and use code PLUMWILD for 15% off at checkout. Big thanks to Majula C Speed Shop for sponsoring again the 6th episode in a row. We got a lot to talk about today, Keith. But first, how are you?
We're not doing bad. It's a Wednesday, my dudes. We're halfway through the week, so positive vibes. We got 2 more days left until the weekend. I'm getting my race car fixed Saturday morning, and then I got a hot date with a cute girl Saturday night.
Oh boy! Hey, I want to throw this out there, live on stream. Will you be my Valentine?
Yes, I would love to be your Valentine. I've been waiting for a month.
A month?
I mean, you sent me a gift, but you had to ask me honestly.
Yeah, I had to ask you, live,
face to face, man to man,
man to man.
I get it.
Yeah, Valentine's Day. I gotta be honest. I didn't get Hannah anything for Valentine's Day.
I got it. She hasn't received anything yet, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you got to take care of the girls, all right?
Exactly. They
don't need anything. They say they don't need anything.
Yeah.
But if you don't get anything,
you're in trouble then.
Life advice.
Yeah.
Buy the flowers, buy the chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Do the right thing.
Well, the thing is,
the next thing is just at least figure out if she doesn't like roses.
Yeah. Well, the way I see it, because it's so hectic for us sometimes during the week, and then tonight's podcast night, right? Come on. So I think we could do something nice for the weekend,
Right.
So I'll get her something. We go out on a date or something.
That's kind of how I figured it. But
something that I haven't spoken about on stream or on the podcast is that Hannah is actually going to travel nurse. She's going to be gone.
This is big news.
Ladies and gentlemen, my wife is
Rocket
leaving
League
me.
Hours are sad.
My wife is leaving me for 13 weeks. She's going to be all the way across the country. I don't want to say what state exactly, but she's going to be across the country travel nursing, which I'm super excited for her to be doing that finally, because she's been talking about doing it for so long, and she would always talk about it and then stop talking about it. And I don't know. And then finally I was like, just do it. And she started looking into it. And so she's finally doing it. She's leaving at the end of this month.
Finally getting some free time.
No, don't say that. Shut up, man. Don't get me in trouble. All right, chill. No, but I probably will have
at least a few parties.
Yeah, we'll throw some parties, live like a bachelor again. But not exactly, because I'm still married, But 13 weeks, bro, and she's coming back the day after my birthday.
Wow.
Yeah, but
no birthday powwow.
Well,
but I have a shout out to one of our guests that watches. His name's Spencer. He's a big fan. He's been watching big time, trying to go through it. He's a big fan of us.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm actually getting him a little deal, and he's getting a shirt. He just doesn't know yet, but now he knows it.
Baby, dude.
But,
yeah, well,
I want
to take it a step further. and one up you here. I want to shout out to everyone who watches our podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Dude, I
everyone who
just get
watches
the
or listens, like it's so fucking cool that people tune in to just listen to us bullshit and, to be honest, most of the time complain about iRacing.
wow. We
And
do have some confidence.
yeah, but I think it's really really cool that people do that. And also, if you're looking to buy your significant other, if you're female or male, and watching this and want to buy your significant other a little special something, go to Apex Designs, bro. And I know this is flipped, so there. Now it should be correct. It's
It actually
Apex
looks
Designs, man.
perfect.
It's really cool stuff, man. What Apex Designs does over there like I said on stream the other day, you don't know how cool it is to hold something like this that is your iRacing wrap. You don't know how cool it is until you're holding it in your hands. And I
Well, like
sent
the
one to
raps
Kiefer.
nowadays are they're like the raps nowadays are. I mean, yeah, they all kind of do look. They are some of them do look the same. Okay, whoop de doo. But there's only so many ways to skin the cat.
Yeah.
But some of these raps nowadays are cool.
Yeah. And so I sent one to Kiefer. And if you want to get something like that made, definitely look at Apex Designs on Facebook. Use code PlumWild. Get you 15% off. These doors are $15. I don't remember how much the die casts are, but I got one for me and for Kiefer, these little mini ones. And then he also does the big ones. I don't have it on me right now, but it's just really cool. And so if you're looking to get your significant other something for their birthday or for Valentine's Day, definitely hit him up. We had NWRA round 6 at Cedar Lake on Monday night. Are you frozen here? What are you doing? Are you texting or something? Wow.
I'm just gonna text her back and then I'm done.
Oh, okay. No, look, you have. I feel like is this a good
All right.
place to announce the news that you have about relating to iRacing teams?
Yes.
Yeah. This happened before. This happened before the race
did
Monday
happen
night.
before NWRA. Yeah, you're right. I
So-
joined NLRA, the Nick Liner Racing Association.
Leonard, but yeah.
Leonard. I know, but I like saying the line. Is it? I know it annoys. No, I'll say it, Leonard. But no, just have been on a team, or I've been on it. I mean, Apex has been. I still call it the team, is the homies. But no, just need a little bit. Not necessarily help, but I just want to see some of these other guys like Sessions and Evans and those guys got a lot of potential, and a few of these other guys got some potential, and just to help some guys' growth again and see some more positive impact in the community, and no, just kind of give back to the people. Like, yeah, I've kind of done a lot. I felt like, and I can run with some of the like of the best whenever I'm on it. But no, just to help spread the love, man.
Yeah,
I know. Monday night wasn't all about spreading the love, but Monday night's over with. I know.
shit. No,
I
but
don't.
look,
You gotta have short memory and this stuff too. I don't forgot about it.
yeah. Well, I wanted to point out that I thought that I like that that you joined NLRA. I love those guys over at NLRA. I'm glad to see them back. Just having those guys like NLRA being a thing again.
And Nick's a great dude.
Yeah, and if I could have picked anywhere for you to join, obviously I would have loved to have you back as a teammate over with CFM. But if not that, then like Nick's bringing NLRA back, like that's where I'd like for you to go.
And it's gonna be a good community where like I feel like there's gonna be no ties really.
Right.
Or try not to have as many ties, and it's just gonna be an open community. If you want to come hang out, it don't matter who you are. If you want to come talk to me, come talk to me. If you want to come yell at me, come yell at me. I don't care.
I'll definitely be over there to come yell at you a little bit.
Yeah, that's normal though.
Let's talk about NWRA round 6 at Cedar Lake. I'll start as always. I qualified decent, dude. Me and Dez started front row of Heat 4, and I think me and Dez have started front row of a Heat quite a few times. Like I think it happened last season in NWRA at Eldora. I think so, and then this season in NWRA, it happened at It happened at Fairbury. Me and Dez started front row at Fairbury. But Monday night we started front row heat 4 at Cedar Lake, bro. And
Dude, that
so
was wild first 5 laps.
he he was a little, I think he was tight. And I was getting really good runs on the top. And finally I think I decided to just throw it into 3 and 4, and it was such a tight gap for me to fit it in down because he was running kind of middle, kind of slider line. I was like, fuck it, I'm going down in there anyways. And so I threw it. All right, then he slides me back. All right, well then I go to throw it again, but I'm like, I'm gonna leave him some room in 3 and 4. And then all of a sudden, Ashton Farr, who we didn't think was Ashton Farr, but it really was him, he comes motoring on the outside, so I can't clear up out of 4.
Right.
And so I'm like getting past for second, and I'm like, fuck. Well, then I wanted to run middle in 1 and 2 to try it, and then I kind of got a better run than I expected, or had more momentum going in than I expected. And so I went in there and basically short slid, like put it on Dez's nose, and I felt bad for it. But then we started battling, just throwing sliders. And we finally kind of got sorted back out to like Dez in first, me in second, Ashton in third. And I was kind of like, all right, I've had my fun. I feel like I kind of fucked Dez with that short slider. I'm not saying that I let him win, but I was like, I'm definitely not going to throw anything on him anymore because like he kind of deserved to win after that. But and then feature race, I never really felt comfortable. I put a slick set in, and we had a reset. Thankfully, Eddie decided to reset. Although I felt like the track was in a pretty good state in the B mains, but
it wasn't going to stay.
It wasn't going to stay that way. So probably a good idea for the reset. I just picked the wrong setup, and I felt tight the whole race. But we ended up bringing home 6th. Nothing crazy, but a good points night. And you, on the other hand, had a little bit different of a night.
I had a second place race car all night.
What
take it though. I qualified second.
Mm-hmm.
Won the heat race.
Mm-hmm.
Felt really good in the feature. I just needed clean flag laps, and for some reason we started in turn 3. And then I'll just be honest. I was doing 27 mile an hour, and my left rear sat down. And I looked down at my thing, and I was like, all right, I got this thing perked up so I can go into the corner. And as soon as I thought about perking it up, he hit the gas on entry 3 there, and I was headed straight with the left rear down. Yeah. Because I wasn't pacing fast enough because I couldn't keep it up on the bars.
Which caused you to hit Dez.
I killed, it ruined Dez's race immediately. And I couldn't do anything.
What if it makes you feel any better? It didn't really ruin Dez's race. He just ended up 8th.
He finished 8th.
Yeah.
But he should have ran probably
top 5. Easy.
He probably should. I don't know if he during that race, once we're getting green flag laps, I was starting to feel better and better. Setup was starting to come in because I think that only happened lap 24, 25 or something halfway through the race. And I knew we were going to get better with time. And the bottom was just about to start coming in, and I was starting to get bricked up. Not even gonna lie, I was starting to hit 1 and 2 in the bottom, and it was scotching, and Rumsey was running on the top, and he wasn't pulling away anymore. And I was starting to reel him in, when we were getting some green flag laps. I'm like, all right, it's time to roll. But shit happens. What do you do?
Yeah, and we actually made a little bit of contact right before you actually fully died. I was trying to stay close, but I was trying to.
I don't know if you saw, but after that happened, I was a pinball.
Yeah, you were.
I was bounced. I got bounced off. Or I hit Dez, and I tried to keep it off of him. I was able to turn down going back into 1 off of him, and I had 3 guys slip by. Well, 2 of them were side by side, and we were going to be 4. I hit him with my left front because I was trying to hug it down. Smacked the wall, hit the gas, going into 3, ass in, got raised up, get through the corner there, and then I go into 1 and 2. They get hit each other, and so I either have to die with them or cut down, and I cut down.
I think right in front of me, wasn't that?
I don't know who it was. I don't think it was. I really don't think it was you.
Was it right before you died? Literally, That was me.
Yeah, how was it?
Yeah, because I was the one
Well,
who kind
it
of
wasn't.
bumped you, and then you
It
went over
wasn't.
the tires.
Like it wasn't your fault.
No. But I was like,
It was just but like in my eyes, at that moment in the wheel, I was fucked. And I couldn't see your nose, but I knew someone was there. I didn't know it was you, but I knew someone was there, and I thought I could make it. And if I wouldn't have hit your left, if you weren't there, it would have worked. But I felt like it didn't work, and then my right front went over the tire. And if your right front goes over the tire at Cedar Lake, it immediately rips it off.
and you go straight to the wall. But
Ugh.
there's more that I want to talk about this, because it got a little bit plumb wild in the NWRA main chat in Discord.
That wasn't even about the race.
It wasn't even about the race. It was about sub driver drama, really.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I wasn't paying any attention to it. As soon as the race was over, as soon as my stream was over, I was getting ready to go to bed.
I was about to go to sleep, and my phone kept popping off. I'm like, I gotta see what's going on.
And I still didn't read through all of it, and it essentially boiled down to Evan C. substituted in NWRA for two different drivers last week, won both races. He substituted for Mason Lobb, and then he substituted for Jesse Entrican. All right, well then, I don't know who complained, but somebody complained that, okay, this really, no offense to Mason Lobb or Jesse Entrican, but Evan is obviously one of the best in the world. He's gonna be one of the top. Yeah, he's gonna win, right? So the
9 times out of 10, MSC's gonna win the race.
The main argument was that the sub should be equal or just a little bit better skill level than the person that they're subbing for. So Eddie put in a rule that at the original time that he put in the rule, it was you have to be the same license class, I believe, and you can't be with more than 1,000 I rating higher. So that was the rule put in place. Then he took out the safety rating thing because that didn't really matter, but I didn't know that. So then the argument became, okay, Logan Rumsey is subbing for Caleb Durgan, and this new rule put in place says that you have to be within 1,000 I rating, and I thought that it had, you couldn't be a pro driver substituting for an A driver. So that was my thing.
I don't really remember reading through the group chat. I think Eddie may have done that just because, like, maybe he did it. I don't know. Maybe someone obviously complained.
Somebody probably said something, but regardless, the drama came whenever it was noticed that Caleb Durgan has 1,003, I believe, less I rating than Logan Rumsey, which in my eyes, I think of it like, okay, first thing was, well, he's a pro driver. Why did he get to sub for an A license driver? And then it was like, okay, that's not the rule anymore. Okay, all right, well, he's 1,003 over. The rule is 1,000. Like, how tightly are you gonna do these rules?
The catch was
that was on his alt account, and his main account was within that 1,000. I think ultimately,
what you do there,
it's a lose-lose situation.
You have to. Well, the only fair way to do it, since he's got two accounts, you got to take a median, and the middle ground would still be under.
Here's what I think, and this is Eddie's league. He can do whatever he wants. All right, we have 10 weeks in this season. You have 2 drop weeks. Why do we even have subs anyways?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because I only...
If you're going to miss more than 3 weeks,
because I asked for subs that 1 week that I missed. But it's because I wasn't here. But, I'm going to be home for the rest of 9 weeks.
Yeah.
And I feel like a league, it should be a commitment deal. You should... the sub deal is nice, and I get it. Or if it's like a guy that is going to be close on time every week, and he might, well, can I get a sub, to just qualify me in? Yeah, I can get that.
The other argument to that is, okay, you can't do that shit in real life, which I know iRacing isn't real life, but you can't get someone to drive your car for you and say, hey, his points count for me. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So
I get it.
My thing is, if you're, it just doesn't, it seems like like Calavoda says in chat, it's a lose-lose. And the way I
Yeah.
see it, which it sucks because the cool thing about leagues is being able to have these different rules and different things in place. But it seems like everything that Eddie tries to do, we're like, just don't do it, or like he tries to do the invert and then we argue that the invert sucks. And so he changes it. All right, well, now we're talking about subs and bitching about subs, and it's like, we'll just stop doing it, So like, I kind of get it, but I don't know. It just,
It's tough.
that's my thoughts
being
on
a
it.
promoter is tough, dude.
Yeah.
Promoters are never right at the
Or
end of the day.
admin,
Does
really.
not matter. Yeah. Well, promoter and admin, like I feel like are the same thing on like the iRacing spectrum because like Eddie promotes it and he admins it.
Right.
But like I feel like the bigger deal is like like just the promoter's perspective because some of the promoters like on real racetracks have to make the calls or the judgment calls. So it's you're never right. Ever.
Yep.
Track's too heavy. Track's too slick.
It's,
The racing was no good.
we give
it was
Eddie
one lane. Oh my god, it was only the bottom. But this next race, it was only the top.
Look,
like you're never gonna satisfy a racer, dude. We're hopeless.
And that's the thing. It's like Eddie, and I want to give Eddie a shout out here because we put him through hell. We give him so much shit, and he has such a short fuse already. And he was, I think it was probably the second time this season already that he said he's done after this season. But I want to give him a shout out. Eddie, we love you. We love you, Eddie. And we appreciate you sticking with us. That's all I've got.
I think we should get the people what they want.
We should give the people what they want. We will be
they're
right
getting rowdy in chat. I feel like
back.
They're gonna rip somebody's leg off.
And we'll be right back with our special guest, David Heileman. All right. Our special guest on this episode is David Heileman. He's a former sprint car and late model Pro Series driver and world championship winner of the one and the only season of the USAC Wingless Sprint Car Pro Series. He's not someone that you really hear from much in the scene anymore, but his history in the dirt sim racing world makes him a legend. And with a nickname like the Heilemaniac, we had to have him on the show. David, welcome to the Plum Wild Podcast.
Glad to be here. Glad to be back in my iRacing element. It's been too long.
It has, like, the last little bit of content that I'd seen on your channel was like from a year or so ago. Oh, your camera's wigging out.
Mine is?
Yeah.
Oh shit. I see my phone screen.
It's all good though. It's all good though. So
we're making it.
I'll give you a second to get that fixed.
What if we do the old turn it off and back on again?
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go.
That was great. Good recovery.
Stay still. All right.
So
stayed calm through that.
Calm through the storm there. So I want to start off. I want to know, where did the nickname the Heilemaniac or Heilemania originate? Like, it's so obvious that it works, but I want to know like exactly where it originated from.
That's actually hilarious. I remember, well, it's actually kind of cheesy too, because I gave it to myself. So back in the old days when you couldn't even have, you couldn't have 60 car servers. In VLR on Tuesday nights or whatever, they hosted qualifying servers, and then they took the top 24. They were a top split, next 24, next 24. And they did that with modifieds, late models, sprint cars, because you could only run 24 car servers, or maybe even 20. And yeah, I think it was USA in like a fixed modified series or something, and I was in the third split because this is when I was still pretty new to the game. And I commented on the broadcast, or maybe on a post or something, that it just came to me, and I was like, oh, the Heilemaniac won third split. And then anybody that knows Howard Weaver, I'm assuming he saw it. Somebody saw it, but he keeps receipts of everything.
Right. Yeah, Howard Weaver he's a crazy man.
Yes. And so then in the write-up on the actual VLR post the next day, they put the Heilemaniac 1, and I just kind of rolled with it from there.
That's awesome. It works. It's such a great nickname. Like that is probably the best nickname, especially because it works so well with your last name. Obviously, that's why it works. But
yes, and I love the logo that I've kept on my car. It's just the Hulkamania one, and then
yeah. So the question that I always ask everyone whenever we first have them on the show is, how did you get into sim racing?
I remember hearing about iRacing, like on an actual TV commercial, back when probably like around 2010, but never even played any online racing games. I only played like my PS2, my NASCARs, some Gran Turismo, some stuff like that. And then my brother Michael finally was like, I'm gonna try this, jump into it. I went over to his house, tried it a little bit. I was like, yeah, I like this, cool. I think that night I might have ordered a wheel and pedals, and then even installed the game and just played with the controller. got my D license in my street stock running at USA, and from there then it was I remember one race. It was like week 13, and so it was the Legends at USA, and Chase Briscoe and Christopher Bell were in the race. And I didn't even believe it was the real guys.
Right.
But then, they come to find out. But yeah, I remember racing against, I started like in the mid pack. Christopher Bell started up front. And he spun out. He ended up back by me. And then we're driving through passing cars. Then we were trading sliders, and he ended up getting the best of me. And he even said good race 12 at the end of the race. And I was like blushing. I was like, oh my God, this is what, this is it. This is awesome. Yeah, I was like, I'm in. I just gave Christopher Bell a run for his money.
And you were hooked from there, huh?
Yeah. I was like, Dad, you don't believe it. It was fucking.
It's the sick.
Obviously, it stuck with you. That moment.
That's core memory.
So
I've had a similar experience in that way. He straight passed me back, but I crossed over Kyle Strickler down in East Bay.
In real life.
Hell yeah.
In real life.
Yeah, you were.
But I crossed him. He passed me back, and he got my ass after.
But you get to stay. Yeah. I
was like,
don't take that away from you.
And this guy gets to say that he pulled a slider on someone at Eldora in real life.
It's also true.
Yeah, and it cleared.
Heilemania was like the king of the slide jobs, though, if I remember right. Especially in the wingless cars.
The wingless cars were, as long as we don't have another USAC season, I'm always gonna say I can undefeated world champ and not wait until the day I die.
Reigning, defending.
Dude, they're fun cars.
Yes, exactly.
They are fun cars because I think me and Nathan have played around with them, and they're super cool.
Take more talent than I have.
Style. Very unique driving style.
Even before they became a thing, and that they were the Monday night broadcast race for a little bit, just before the USAC, they're just badass to drive. Yeah, I don't even know how they race nowadays, but
I don't know. I haven't put a lap in one since the update on this build update. But no, I mean, wingless cars, you gotta be a wheel man to drive those things.
Me and Kiefer both joined iRacing around the same time, which was the COVID boom. And I was summer of 2020. So, and I didn't really pay attention to the community before that. I wasn't a part of it. And I didn't really start paying attention to the community even after until about maybe a half a year or a year later. So everything that I don't know anything really about anything prior to that. And so I had to learn about you from other people recommending, videos or, YouTube recommendations or just people talking about, the legend that you are. So I apologize if some of this stuff that I ask is maybe more common knowledge, to some people, but it's all legend to me. It was before my time.
Howard Weaver, but it's Howard Weaver.
It's a lot like Howard Weaver, honestly.
It's Howard Weaver.
Howard's
There's like
history was like before my time, so a lot
no
of it
one knows.
I don't know about
No,
it.
not really. No one knows. You were around still at a decent time there in 2020, and you ran in the Pro Series in 2021 as well. And
Yeah, I think 20 might have been my last year. I don't even remember.
You actually,
either,
yeah.
but-
So you ran 2018, 2019, and 2020.
Yeah.
That whenever they were through, I think the spring, I believe, and then before they went to like the winter. But you ran, I think, second, third, and third in points, and then did you just elect to not come back the next year? Like, what was the deal with that? I take it there's something that I'm really missing here that I wasn't a part of the community to know about.
Some things happened, and I wasn't invited back in per se from from the series. It actually was the final straw. I think I was like mouthing off during a late model pro race or something, like in spectator chat. That'll get you. And yeah, someone typed iDirt in here.
Oh yes, I remember
during
the
COVID.
stories.
Oh my god! See, like all that.
I remember
like you guys are
the
saying,
stories now.
it wasn't always like that. It wasn't Facebook groups and all that. It was just like stuff on the forums, and then the stuff that would happen during the VLR races. I feel like that was the whole community in like 2018, 19.
Yeah.
And then iDirt happened, and you just, I mean, sometimes you just wake up and choose violence. No,
sounds like you woke up and
at
chose
it,
violence too many times.
No, it was, for me, it was always just in good fun. Like I always just, I'm like, we're playing a game. We're all here for a good, right? We're just here for a good time, but that isn't always the case for everybody. And
no.
no, they wanted to not censor the group, but like they were like, well, if pro drivers post in there, and I don't know. I just had a big ego, and I just wanted. I just always spoke my feelings, I didn't like the state of something, or I wanted to meme something, I would make a joke about it, and a lot of people loved it, but
I'll
tell
you gotta fit the lines, and I always was pushing the boundaries. That's just sort of
like
my
Howard.
life.
I mean, Howard went through the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Me and Howard originally, before Weaver Vision and before, I don't even know how many. Yeah, all the damn pages that are. I don't know if they're him or not, but we had our like the first OG meme page. It never really blew up or anything, but where it was like Heilemaniac and Weaver Nation or something. Because we like to poke fun at just all the goofy stuff of it.
Yeah.
Well,
it's good fun, but
I think that my favorite instance of that is your video, that your like kind of hype video that you made about like Heilemania. It was for some big VLR race, I believe, that like you were standing on your chair and shit. That was you, correct?
Yes. Okay, so that was the actual LAN event that Matthew Henniger and VLR put together at the it was some race car fair out in Pennsylvania they have every year.
Yeah.
And where they actually they took I think maybe 40 guys showed up in real life, and they had 12 sims, and then they racing and got 12 guys, and then there was like an online half, and then it was 12 online versus 12 in sim. And that was
what prompted you to make that video?
Oh, just why the hell not? Like you said, just having fun with the whole entire thing.
Right.
That's what we need. Like that's when the world needed David Heileman the most, he vanished.
Wow. Well,
we found him again, and he's here now. But how did that race end up going? Because you were talking so much about it in that video and hyping it up and everything. You went, right? I'm assuming.
Oh yeah.
And how did you do?
I drove out there. It ended up I was running third behind Al. The winger the winner or the highest finisher of the PA extravaganza. Fucking Blimp was there.
Yeah.
I got Calavoga was there. We were, but yeah, the winner would have got a real sprint car ride to race at like BAPS or something also. And so fucking Alex was there, and I was there, Tyler Shell was there, and Braden Eiler was there. He had a really good run. Sorry, these are sprint car guys, but most
Hey,
of the
I know
people
who
that
those
Well,
guys are.
we know a lot
Yeah.
of
I
them,
know.
but
It's just I don't know a lot about the past sprint car.
we don't
because
really
we've
run
been-
sprint
we've been
cars,
in
so
late
we're not
models.
huge into the
And I know-
community or big
Maybe
into
you
the
can help
community.
us. You could help us eventually and later on.
Yeah.
Tell us what's the deal here.
the
Seven
whole
sprint car late
event,
model.
most of the guys that ran up front were in the simulators, and these are all Tim Sims, and they're put together. Like I
Yeah.
love Tim; he's the nicest guy in dirt. And but it's like not your home setup, not the stuff you're used to. Even the pedals were
Right.
like sprint car pedals where you kind of have to like
Yes.
roll it. And it was badass. They had a big screen. They had a couple of bleachers, you know, and they weren't packed or anything. It was maybe 100 people, but you could hear on the surround sound. You'd make a move in the race. You'd go slide a guy, and then you would hear who would like Randy Chang out the guy announcing, you know, 5 seconds later on the delay, you know, yelling about it on the stream, and then you could hear feedback from the crowd, either like cheering or booing from like Alex would pass somebody.
That sounds awesome.
Oh, it was spectacular. I was third, Hagen was winning, Alex was second. I was like, I need to make a move on these guys. I couldn't catch them. I kept looking for more and more, and I hit the wall with like 2 to go and threw the diff out and finished 7th.
Damn.
But it was a hell of a freaking time.
That sounds awesome. Like that sounds like literally there's so much history to this.
Dude,
And-
imagine
Yeah,
that right
imagine
now.
a late.
Like,
Oh yeah, like
the late model.
yeah.
Because that was sprint cars, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
it
sprints.
was all sprint cars, and yeah,
Yeah.
we really then that was just before COVID.
Yeah.
Matthew had Hangert, he had plans to do like 4 of those in the next year. One at like Knoxville Nationals, one at like the Dream even. And COVID happened, and I don't know exactly what all happened, but it all just kind of fell apart like a lot of things.
Yeah.
It was really
COVID
disappointing.
was rough,
But
yeah. Hey, but it brought a lot of things to iRacing, I guess.
yeah, for sure. It was definitely helped it. But yeah, just meeting a ton of the people you race with all the time. And
It's cool. It's like just like when me and Nathan become friends, and we talked online for what,
Probably
a year and a half.
A year, yeah. Year.
Like, and then
a year.
I went down to his house, and like now I go visit him, and like it's all like we all been racing online, and
It's cool.
no, that's like I like meeting everybody that I race with. I don't care if you wreck me, hit me, if I hate you or not, dude. It's just cool to see the people you race with. Because at the end of the day, you couldn't do it if it wasn't for them or if it wasn't for you. You know what I mean?
That's true.
That's what
we're all part of it.
We're all part of it.
That brings me.
We don't all have to love each other, though. You know.
But that brings me to my a good point. The real reason that I kind of found out who you were, David, is I saw your video, advice from the iRacing or an iRacing world champ. And I watched that entire 25-minute video, and it really kind of blew my mind that you posted this video in, I think, 2020, and I had never seen it before, but it's almost to the exact wording what I tell people, because I do iRacing on stream and everything, and and whenever people ask me tips or anything, I almost quote that word for word without have ever even seen it, and it's a lot about taking accountability. And whenever I tell people to go watch the video, I'm like, this is a 25-minute long video of David Heileman screaming into his mic, but you need to watch it.
A lot of rambling. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that video. What kind of prompted you to make that video about, if you really remember it, I'm sure you remember it, but if you don't, what prompted you to make that video about, taking accountability and just having a better mindset on iRacing?
Yeah, I actually had to rewatch it to kind of see what was all said in it. But I referenced, a video that I had made. A video that I had made earlier where It was like I think it was called like advice from a driver that's peaked.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just says, a lot of the things. Just take accountability for as much as you can, and don't play the victim. And it's actually crazy when I was watching that back today how much I've actually like attributed that to other real life things now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where it's
And
like
it goes a long way. And that's why, like, I do get emotional and a little upset sometimes.
Oh, we all
we
do.
do.
Oh yeah.
We all do. But, like, I want to see everybody do better. And every, like, all that little stuff, if you do that and if you can race fine and race for respect and race for accountability, and you can just go take that in the real world, you're going to succeed. I know it's racing, but it's the same mentality. It's big. It's very mental. It's a very, very mental sport.
Definitely. And when you're racing the same guys daily almost, like you're always gonna have run-ins, and
So there's not even no reason to even start stuff because it's just going to happen at the
the
end of the day.
toxicity, it's gonna build, and it's like
Yeah.
it's just I really like what you said before. You joined a new team, and it was because you just wanted to help. You just wanted
Yes.
something new,
Yeah.
and to
Right.
kind of help a new group of guys, and
Right.
that
See,
just
but
sounds awesome. That would like if I was ever to like really come back and race, like it's nothing against the guys on my team, but it's like I wouldn't. There'd be a couple other
right.
like new teams that have popped up in sprint cars where it's like, man, I'd love to be their
Right.
teammate just to see what that's like,
Right.
and to help. Like
And
you
like,
said, the
well,
collective and the whole.
and like, I love the alpha guys. Love the alpha guy or guys. I was on beta, I guess. I was beta. But I, like over there, I feel like I'd be maybe a little bit faster, or just because of the experience those guys have and what they've done from sprint cars to late models to all that. You can probably still hear me. It's fine.
I think it's fine.
I don't even know where was I at. Do I need to restart?
That distract you?
Yeah, a little bit. I think he was getting a little too
I was
excited
getting
over there.
naked. Yeah, it's Valentine's Day, dude. You can't be doing that.
You're right.
I've had
Wearing red.
I've had an aphrodisiac today. Chocolate.
Jesus.
No, seriously, I really did forget my train of thought. What were we talking about?
I don't know. You said something along the lines of you might have been faster with the guys over it.
Oh, well, the alpha guy. Yeah, I feel like I could be like fat just with sprint cars and stuff. They just have a lot more. I feel like a lot of experience building and all that stuff. But I feel like I've kind of got where Heileman says peaked in a way. Not peaked, but I feel like
competitive
right.
spirit isn't so much. You're not chasing so much competitive. Was that?
Well, I
make
feel like
sense?
I feel like I've done a lot. I do. I mean, I haven't really had the exact results, but like I've been there the whole time, or
You know
like
what it's like.
right. And I feel like I could help a lot of these guys, and like the guys that that just need a little help just to get to that next step, or even just a little bit of a medium gap, to get just to even make to top split. But it's cool to see that. Like, I've been with Nathan for a long time. I've seen him go through the ranks, and now I feel like he's one of the best on the sim, and he'll have no trouble making the Pro Series again and running with those guys. But I'd like to see more of it, I guess, because yeah, I do get you don't get tired of racing with the same guys, but I like to see and spread the love. We don't all I don't have to take it all. I'd rather see Nathan beat me most of the time. Like, that makes me happy, even though we're out in the same team and we're racing against each other. Because like
He's happy whenever I'm beating him.
There was yeah, you know what I mean. Because there was a long time when me and Nathan raced together, and he chased me for a while, for a long time, and now to see him beating me and running with me and doing that is awesome in my opinion. I'd rather see him win all day. I'd rather see him lap me.
Yeah. You need to hear that more. Sorry, in this community, because it's such a
toxic,
ego-driven thing.
And
where if you let that get out of control, it it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And
Would you what would you kind of? I feel like this is kind of leading into this. Like, why have you alluded to coming back? So obviously you've kind of left, right? What kind of caused that? What made you kind of quit? Because I noticed you haven't ran but like 20 races in the past year and a half, really.
it was really just I got a girlfriend, started going outside.
Touched grass, huh?
Wait, there's grass? What's it smell like?
I physically walk around barefoot just to touch the grass. I'm just the biggest hippie there is now. But
It's a good. I'm not barefoot, but like the backpacking, the hiking kind of vibe.
hell
Just
yeah.
like that's where I'm slowly getting there.
I just got back from Phoenix today. It was amazing. It
Oh,
was
dude, I'm
crazy.
my next trip I think is going to like Seattle, like to Mount Rainier, and go backpacking for a few days. That's
Badass time. Van life. So it'd
Van
be
life?
goals. Yeah, it's cool. And going around the country. We were talking about iRacing. No, it was
Yeah.
just even when I was racing towards the end there, I didn't feel like, not that I didn't feel like myself, but I almost didn't feel like being the Heilemaniac, if that makes sense.
right. You didn't want the attention per se, or like you just
I
wanted
was
didn't want the attention. You just wanted to race.
Yeah, yeah. And like I was at, every time, even when I did race, I would always be like smoke a bowl or something beforehand because it's like I couldn't just
Race.
Be yourself and
and
race.
even myself in the moment
Right. No, I get it.
without, just
Life.
without that. And it was and yeah, then eventually things were turning around and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of gonna move in with my girlfriend and left my wheel and pedals at my brother's. I was living with him. And I would go over there and race when I'd go back over there, and I was kind of back and forth. And then I finally brought a computer even over here, and I just still never had never felt
drive.
never, wanted to take the leap to even bring the stuff over here because it's just, I don't know. It felt like there's nothing for me right now. Yeah.
So was the content like kind of like, because I know you made a decent amount of content. Was that kind of part of it, like that attributed to the burnout? Because like even whenever like you're making content, like you were making content and everything, and you had a podcast which I had no clue about. No offense, I had no clue that you had a podcast that was almost like exactly what me and Kiefer started this podcast about, which was recapping the Pro Series races that we were running. But like, did that kind of attribute to, like the burnout and the lack of a drive to do it was making the content?
I always wanted to make the content, like but there just wasn't any love behind it towards the end. Where it was really just, I want to upload just so I can upload for my subscribers or whatever, for those people that are still watching.
Yeah.
But
whenever it wasn't necessarily climbing.
And then with trying to how hard it is to trying to get a guest on and say, oh, at this time, okay, do you want to get the podcast to at this time?
Right.
And then Adam would go, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, love Adam. And yeah, eventually the podcast really just happened because I wasn't racing the Pro Series, so I was like, this is how I'm still a part of it.
Yeah, no, I get it. We're trying. I think the community is going to slowly get back better to where there will be more positive things to come back to. Maybe we can get Heilemania back. Maybe not Heilemania, but Heileman.
Yeah.
Maybe even back in like the broadcasting booth or something around there. You never know.
I was gonna say that would be one route that I feel like I'd enjoy doing. And still,
me and Nathan and I have actually been talking about doing like just even a race.
This is called the Plum Wild Podcast. We were gonna call it the Plum Wild Broadcast. Just to kind of broadcast.
I feel like it would be especially like
You could be. You know what you could be
late model
because
side of things.
I feel
Rowdy.
like you
It
could
might be hard. It might be hard streaming. We might need a little bit of a delay or something.
look. Here's an idea I want to toss at you. You are obviously very clever and witty and can come up with funny, goofy stuff. I think it would be funny to have you as like almost like a pit side reporter if you would ever do it, because you could like come up with some random shit like acting like you're down there in the pits with someone that's getting a quick repair or some shit. You know, like I think that would be a funny idea. But anyways, I kind of we were talking about the old days of iRacing. Is there something that you may miss about the old days that isn't or wasn't quite there anymore whenever you were quitting, or isn't there now, or maybe about how the cars drove, or is there really anything that you're kind of nostalgic about those days?
It's. I feel like no matter what it is, you look back on it fondly overall. Like, in 2019, everybody would have said, no, 2017 when it first released was the best. And, in 2021, just said 2019 was the best. I don't know. That's definitely one reason, I haven't even like felt the need to dip my toe back in, is because, I watch the pro races. Sometimes I help spectate for my guys on Monday nights, and, they're not having fun. The cars don't look like they're fun to drive at all. They put it. The racing was decent this season in the sprint cars, but it just seems like that. Not even. I don't want to say the skill gap got smaller, like it just became easier to drive. I do think there is a new fluctuation of talent in the sprint car guys, which late models have had for, I feel like, the last 3 or 4 seasons. There's 10 new pro drivers where I'm like, I've never even heard of them.
Yeah.
And that's good for the pro series because it keeps everybody on top of their game, and it's fresh and everything. And where sprint cars really didn't have that, where I feel like this was the first year where there was some pretty decent turnover.
Yeah.
And then
I think like the speed shop guys, that was impressive.
Yeah,
I
saw Forrester last year, and he showed the speed and just not the consistency. And even with Ryan this year, where I thought, during those last 4 races, at least one of them was going to falter at some point. And no, they put in the work, and neither of them really did. And yeah, it came down to a freaking tie. It's like, overall for iRacing, like that's you can't get any better. That's what they want. And I root for that. Like I still cheer for iRacing, and even though
I do too.
I had personal problems with some of the staff and stuff, like I still don't like, it's still the top motorsport simulator, whatever you want to call it, game out there.
Right.
Especially for dirt.
Yeah.
It's I don't know
like
how
I would just say, it's just fix some shit before you release some shit, but it's never going to happen. Really.
Well, speaking of which, I did notice, because I do a little bit of research, right? I did notice you have ran a couple, maybe 3 races, at least officials, since the dirt refresh. A couple of them being the qualifiers in 2023. What are your opinions? Because you said a little bit about it, but what are your opinions of the sprint cars right now?
Well, I did. Last year before pro qualifiers, I emailed iRacing, and they said, not this season. You can't come back in. I was like, all right, whatever. So I was like, this year I'll take a stab at it. I won't even ask them about it until, at least I qualify. And the first race, I was running like 3rd, and then like the top 6 guys dropped out with 5 to go. And then I was like, oh boy, here we go. And then I don't even remember what happened.
Well, that was at Charlotte. I remember that being a whole thing that like across all of iRacing, like there was a huge dropping issue.
Yeah, and I remember like I-55, I got wrecked in a heat, and it was then eventually it was just like, I'm not even gonna bother showing up. But it was really like I didn't have the speed that I wanted. Like I
Yeah.
knew, okay, even if I make Pro Series, like I don't think I'm gonna be able to contend like I used to.
Right.
Like even in the top 5. And so
Right.
it's just kind of,
It's hard
just
to
not
be
enough motivation
to
there.
go from racing at that level and not being able to. And I know a lot of people say it's laps, but if you can't get, you got to get that thing tuned up for you,
Mhm.
ready to rip, and it's hard
And
to do that.
when I was on top and I was the guy, you know, turning laps,
Yeah.
which I'd still argue wasn't too terribly much. But it's like, yeah, where you don't race then for 2 or 3 weeks, like there's just gonna be drop off, and it's like, oh, it's like anything in life, if you're gonna put more time into it, those people are gonna be better. But
Yeah.
so it's all about, being crucial and critical with learning as much as you can, as fast as you can, to get as much out of every race as you can. And that helps speed up the process where, no, I don't need as much time because I'm learning, did I
Right.
run a good race? Here's where I could have better. Here's where I went bad. Even if you win the race, you
And
can still.
consistency.
Mhm,
It's just,
You
can I hit this line for 50 laps? That line.
exactly. Yep.
That line. Not half ass. That line.
Mhm.
so you won the USAC World Championship. I imagine that was which would put you as our second Pro Series champion we've had on here. We had Evan on third.
Blake.
Oh yeah, Blake. That's right, Blake. We had Blake on. So you're our third Pro Series champion we've had on here, but the one and, like we said, the one and only USAC champion. What was that whole season like? Really, if you could sum it up a little bit, as far as the start, how confident you were going into it, and then those last couple of weeks.
It's actually funny now because like I say, I've turned into this big hippie, and I'm like, all right, if our consciousness determines our reality and our beliefs and manifestation and crap like that, I go, okay, I think back to that pro year, and I go, yeah, I did think I could win that title, and I ended up doing it. Where in sprint cars, it was always, can I beat Alex? Are you going to beat Alex? Can you beat Alex? He was the staple.
Guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I knew going in I would, solidly be top 5. I was worried about Alex and Chase Cabry, I believe, at the time going into the season. Those guys were fast. And even Hagen Cardwell, he didn't get the race because he was banned from late models, but Hagen could rip in a non-wing. Like he would have won a couple of races for sure.
Yeah.
Had he been in it. But no, he had a solid team, and like even like I was with Joe Berkeley, Lewis Hewitt, those guys are Australian. So
Yeah.
if I wanted to turn laps, I had to wake up at 6 a.m. and then we go all burning a track together the Monday morning before the race. And it's like, damn, looking back at it, it's like you really wanted to win that. You put in the work, you believed you were going to win it, and it actually fucking happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, about halfway through the season, I kind of knew I was going to win it. Just by like the way things were going, I was just really confident in every track we went. And yeah, things panned out. I was even able to skip the last week and go down to Charlotte, where Alex was the sprint car title, then Blake was the late model, and then I went down there just to screw around. I was like, hey,
Is that no way? You had that big of a lead?
Yeah,
That's crazy because I saw in the stats, I was looking at the stats today that you had one less start than everyone, and I was like, that doesn't really, something's weird about that. But some of those old stats look weird anyways, but that's crazy that you had such a big lead that you could take that week off and just go dick around at Charlotte.
Well, with the other World Series, like the other champion, so he was a fucking champion too. He wanted his picture taken.
Mm-hmm. I was like, hey, if we're doing this, we're doing this.
Is that how you met your girlfriend? Was she found out that you were a USAC, iRacing champ? And
remember I would send her streams and she was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just like, Oh, trust me, I got some cringy shout outs in the interviews.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah,
I can't imagine how awesome of a feeling that would be to win a world championship.
Yeah.
oh yeah, and my whole thing was like, I'm just gonna get, my whole like motivation was I'll get to say, I'm the world champion. That
Undefeated.
was like the goal.
And
Still undefeated.
what
It
was
was
Never been beat.
what was the
Best wingless guy to ever do it. You can't ever argue it.
you there wasn't a follow up season for that, and you kind of said that you're glad that they didn't, because now you're the only one that can say that. But what was kind of the initial reaction whenever you realized that they weren't doing another season of it, at least not immediately?
So, well, the thing was, I got to go down to the USAC banquet. So instead of, World of Outlaws in Charlotte,
Yeah.
USAC one was in Indiana. And I got to take my parents to
Oh, so
that.
you
That was
double
really cool.
dipped.
Yeah, yeah. um, and then you also got to win the Corey Cruiseman driving experience out in Ventura. And you could go drive a non-wing 2-day driving school. And that was the other prize. But then COVID happened then in 2020, and then that kind of all fell through. I've emailed iRacing, and they didn't. USAC doesn't want to put any more money into any of it, so
Yeah.
that was disappointing. But
Yeah.
like I said, I was double dipping. I was making the most of it. I was just.
I would too, man. I would too. I mean, you even used it in that video title, iRacing World Champ. Advice from iRacing World Champ. That's I would abuse that probably until the end of time. I want to know.
It's in my resume somewhere.
Yeah, it's in their resume for
The fine print.
Yeah. I kind of want to know your thoughts in the over encompassing, and we asked our last guest this. We've kind of been asking this a lot, but what's your thoughts on the current state of iRacing dirt? I mean, all things considered, the tracks, the racing, the setup shop drama, the community, all of it. What are your kind of thoughts on it right now? And I know you probably don't pay as much attention as you used to, but
it's hard to put much into my
answer
into it because I don't. It doesn't hold much weight because I'm not a part
Invested.
of it. The setup shop drama and stuff. I've been a part of setup shops, but I've like never been a part of that side of it. If you're gonna make money off of playing video games, I say I'll go all for it. Like that's probably what kept me around a whole extra year from when I was really, when I was losing my motivation. Like it was, you're pulling in this for a week, and I know what I'm doing. I want to help people, so I'm gonna put up setups out here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sure it does help people, but then I see the other card, where it gives people who don't know how to drive or don't know what they're doing the same speed, and then shit happens, and then you gotta go post and brag about your finish and your SOF and all that, which I never, like I said, I've never cared for that because at the end of the day, I just wanted to help people. I loved. I've had to sub in for Tim Ryan a little bit at VRS before, and I got to do a couple of coaching sessions, and I loved doing them, and everybody at least told me they loved it what I did with them. So I don't really know what you want to do about that. I know people like iRacing needs to step in, but I don't know what iRacing can do about it really.
No.
Tracks are still like if they never each like Cedar Lake has like the wall glitch, and like Port Royal's just a pile of shit.
Yep.
I really liked
This is true.
I really liked what was the last track they came out with?
Kern.
That was the last day I had fun on iRacing. I came and ran some hosteds when like the week Kern came out, and I was like, that was the most fun I had in a long time. But
Really?
That's sprint car, but in late model, that track is
Yeah,
that's
late
right.
model.
Never ran late model. I ran sprint cars and a non-wing race.
And
It was a blast.
the late models there are too wide, but the sprint cars there I hear are really good.
See, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like late models are just wide everywhere. Like,
Yeah,
sail
well, I
into
They're a
feel
little
like
too big, I
yes,
think.
yes, because I know it's not the same, but it's the same. I drive a real car, okay?
Mhm.
We can go 4 wide pretty easily, most places.
Yeah.
Like I-55 can go 4 wide in a late model. Not off of 2, or not off of 2, not off of 4. You can go 3, but like most on iRacing, you can barely go 2 wide.
Yep. And you're like sitting over the wall at places where
Yes,
like
you're
a wing
higher than the
sprint
wall.
car, you won't even see the car, but you were sitting over it. And it's just,
Yeah,
I
I
just
know.
feel
I
like,
agree with you. They say it's not. They say it's not.
no, I mean, I say a lot. I just feel like if it's just if there was more quality of life tweaks, like say, okay, we only get even one track a year. Say we get one, in every 6 months or every 12 months we get a quality of life update. Every 12 months we get a track and a
Yeah,
car. Like that'd be like,
yeah.
I feel
Because they
like
really haven't. They have done like to the race tracks until like maybe in the tire model, I guess, but they haven't really added anything. Like more things to. I know there's you can always people ask about more things to change, but like changing the car is
that's
what.
also more things that can go wrong.
Yeah, I
Which is
get
Um,
it
why a
too.
lot of
I
people
get it for
think that
both.
the OG build was the best. I mean, a lot of people say that the OG build was the best across the board. And I go back and it's rose tinted glasses, but I go back and I watch some of these old races, like some of the ones that you were in, David, and the racing did look better. The cars did look like they were
Would
harder to
you?
drive, but also like more fun. And just a lot of it seemed like it was better back then. And it just seems like, and
I don't.
it's not
I don't.
not for a lack
I
of
think.
trying, but I feel like it's just gotten worse over time.
I think it's. I think it's a lot of it is because it's so easy to get fast.
Yeah.
And it changes that whole like once you like you like skip a step
and
in a
that's
way
why I
like
loved
that step you
non-wing cars.
skipped. Yeah, right.
Because you have to use the brakes. Jesus Christ, you got to actually use the brakes, and you got to back it in, and you got,
Yeah,
it's such a
yeah.
more skill gap where
The skill, and that's why I don't like pro late models and like limited late models and like the great
Pro late
cars.
models, bro.
Where I like the supers and like 410s and
mm,
like UMP mod because the skill gap's greater.
yeah,
It's not. And it's not like. But I feel like you should be rewarded for that. And I feel like sometimes, like we're so fine tuned right now
yeah,
on some of these cars. Like when the setup, like my Cedar Lake, so like I felt like I was second place car in NWRA Monday night. Um, I could have put you in this thing and made you and told you to make 100 laps, and you'd probably ran top 5. Like this thing was dialed. It took no talent, but like, no, I shouldn't say no talent, but like it was really, but you can't. I don't know.
I think what you're trying to say is they're making it a little too easy, and
It
that's why
is. It's too.
David likes the non-wings because they are hard to drive,
Yeah,
and
and
that
like
makes
this,
it more fun and it makes it more competitive, and it
yes,
allows
if we
for
could
a
use a brake pedal.
skill gap.
Ooh.
and but it's like, what does iRacing want? Do they want everybody to
Right,
be having fun and have it easy, or they
and
want
that's
it,
how
really,
that,
it's
yes,
balanced and
and that's
everything?
how I see it as well too. Because like, there's some things in iRacing that like once you get too bent or if you get too tight, like you can't recover from that. And on iRacing, you can be just like hit the gas, get it right back up. No, nope, wrong.
This
That's
leads
not
me
how that
in
works.
pretty well to my one of my last couple questions here. And you're the perfect. I feel like you're the perfect person to ask this, David. What is your most controversial iRacing opinion? You know, I can give mine first if you'd like, while you two think of yours.
Yeah.
Okay, my controversial iRacing opinion is that the best racing will always happen right after an update drops, and then it'll all steadily go downhill from there. And that's because no one, after, I'm talking like the day of an iRacing update or back whenever there were no setup shops, the first little bit after an update, before everyone has had time to figure everything out to get it absolutely perfect, that is whenever the racing will be the best. And the only really bad thing, I guess, sort of negative thing about setup shops is that setup shops shorten that time frame of when the racing will be the best, because the competition, the huge teams, they allow that fine tuning and dialing into the setups to happen so much quicker, to where, like I said, the best racing happens whenever an update drops, but pretty soon after that, everyone has kind of figured it out. That's my controversial, I guess you could say, opinion. Like, it'll always just be the best the day that an update drops, and it'll steadily go down from there.
My controversial take of the day of why iRacing, what could help iRacing, I guess you could say, is more teams that aren't. I feel like the teams are too big. Like, you're racing against 12 guys at the same time on the same thing. How are you gonna beat them? Because I'm competitive, all right. So whenever, like right now, I'd be lenient to send Nathan my setups because he's better, if not as good as me. So like, you want those guys to go beat you? Like, and you gotta go beat them. So you want I don't know. That's how I see it. Like, it's gonna be like there's.
No, it makes sense. Look at everything that happened.
And then it would make the racing better, because then you wouldn't have 12 guys on the same thing running the same line.
The spring fling, it was like 3 teams was the whole field. Like 12 basically was like CFM versus House of Speed versus someone else.
Speed Ranch. And then me. I was representing Apex in that one.
It alludes to what you said before with the new build and everything. That's kind of when I had my come up. Was just like you said, Knoxville came out. And then VLR had their Knoxville race, and then that was my first big VLR win, and that led me to being on the team, which everybody hated VLR at the time because we were a big team and we were all the fastest guys. We had 5 guys in the top 10 in the first Pro Series race.
Yeah.
My most controversial opinion. See, I feel like there's some, I don't know, most of my opinions I like to think are based in some sort of truth, so it should resonate.
Well, I mean, I think me and Kiefer believe that too. Yeah, most controversial is kind of clickbaity, but you get what I'm saying.
Just your biggest humbling or eye-opening for the viewers or whatever they.
I still think, even in the build now, where I think every car and track can be racy at a certain point throughout the night. We see that. We never know what to do. Like, okay, a B main track is really good, but is that going to carry on in the feature? What do we do about that? Where, I guess it's not a controversial opinion, but like, if they just gave us a little more controls over that, like I said, one of those quality of life updates where leagues can do
new things,
have a little more leniency, that would really, I feel like, a couple of years ago was when leagues and everything racing was the best and leagues were the strongest because everybody was having fun.
Right.
Everybody, and where
we do need more leagues going on.
I couldn't name what even sprint cars. I have no idea what.
I don't think there is a sprint car league anymore.
We used to have dirty old bastards used to run on Tuesdays and Thursdays and run 2 races a night at different tracks, and that would fill up all 60 spots in 3 minutes. And then also we had another one on Monday, and it was just. Well, I feel like leagues have died over the last 2 years, but
people are so toxic towards the league owners in a way. Mm-hmm. You need to do this. Well, and then you have what happens. This is what happens, in my opinion. You have guys come in that aren't even in the series complaining and yelling at you as a promoter
And they're
Like,
not
what do
even
you
running in
do?
it?
And they're not even in the league,
Yeah.
and they're in there telling you how to do your job, and they're not even in the league. That's why you don't have leagues.
And that's where, that ego comes in. And I get it.
Yeah.
People want to run. It's their league. They can run it however they want, even though I don't agree with it. If I'm there, I sign up to their rules to race.
Because Eddie wanted to quit after that.
But-
Like them arguing about that, he wanted to shut down the league. And then if NWRA stops, I know you may not, because it's not really a sprint car side of things, but like if Eddie's not there, there is only one other league. Or like, and it's not even a league; it's a series. It's promote like the VLR race is the big events. Wotel's still on Sundays, but like through the weekdays, like the weekday leagues, weekend leagues for me are just tough because
Yeah, I don't really like weekend leagues.
we're busy on the weekends, man.
Yeah,
I'm at home on a
especially if
weekday.
you're racing. Yeah.
And I'm racing, and
Well, I
Nathan
think-
likes to adventure and likes to do whenever he's not working on the day. He wants to be out and adventure, you know.
I think a lot of it comes down to just the natural flow of things with competition. Like, there's a lot of leagues out there still, and maybe it's just a product of us being at the level that we are, but the competition of it kind of kills where something should be for fun. Leagues that are fun, that
we had a wheelie league that was
in,
a blast, and that was
but
the reason why Apex started.
They turn into people get too competitive in the fun leagues, and then the egos form, and NWRA could be more fun if it was, I don't know. You throw so many people in that think they deserve to win. They're the best, and I don't know.
You guys, did either of you run Midnight Madness when VLR did that?
I didn't.
You did. You did it in 2021.
Okay, I did.
Okay, like Midnight Madness, it was always like kind of a random car and track thing.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was on, I don't even remember, but it was like at midnight. So it was like, a different group of people, and we're different cars.
There's a lot of people online.
Everybody was just having fun, but then, it turned into, it's late models this week, so all the late model guys show up, or okay, it's this week, and all those guys show up, and then, they would clash, and it kind of, like you said, they ruined the fun of it.
Yeah,
because it got so competitive.
Yeah, you something that, and I think we're all a little guilty of it because we are competitive
I had a hell
in
of
our
a battle
nature.
for 10th last night, dude.
But
I ended up 11th, but I had a hell of a battle. It was fun.
You join something to have fun, and then you start getting competitive in it, and it kind of takes the fun out of it to an extent.
That's one reason, one problem I had with officials, because it was like, I'm not going to sit here and race you as hard as I can. I don't care, who you are. It's like, because I know we got a race tomorrow, so if I, wreck up and fuck you, and then, things build up. So I never,
Yeah, that's how I am. I feel like I can't even race officials anymore because it's going to, I don't want to even mess up my league stuff because I don't even, like, it's not even worth it.
Yeah. I'm like, there's 10 races a year that I care about. And that was just Pro Series.
Right.
Everything else kind of stemmed from there. But yeah, it's an official race, so I would kind of screw around, try different lines and stuff, and
learn.
Let guys learn racing against me, also, and eventually people kind of caught on. But it was like, where I couldn't get motivated to, even want to try to be competitive in official races,
right?
And then leagues were gone, and that's one reason where I'm sitting here where I am today.
Yeah.
Well, last question I have for you, David, is, and I'm pretty sure I kind of already know the answer to this, but is there any plans for you to, go for the pro license again, maybe this year? If they were to say, yeah, you can come back, would you kind of maybe start gearing up to try to make it, or is that still something that you're undecided about?
I mean, I still I miss everybody from iRacing. I just don't miss the game.
Right.
Like, as my brother lives like 15 minutes away from me, and so it's like, it's a hump just to get into the seat. just to get into the seat of the steering wheel,
Right.
everything. But yeah, like I said, I tried this year and things weren't, flowing, and I was just like, forget about it. But like even like I think last year's spring fling, I was like, okay, I turned some laps and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get back into it, and it just fizzles out. I'll never say never. Like I'm just hoping for the day, like I said, driving becomes when there is a bigger skill gap. Where if we got to
Yes.
start using brakes in every cars, and
I
we're
would
up there
agree.
and we're slamming a fucking cushion or something like that, and the damaged models aren't so wrecked like they are in sprint cars and late models now, and the tires aren't weird, hell yeah, I'll be back. Hell yeah, I'll be back screaming in my microphone at people, flexing on being the Heilemaniac will be back. But until then, uh, we're probably just sitting on the sidelines for a bit.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I agree with you though.
we definitely hope that you make another run for it. I think the community of iRacing needs someone like you that has all the personality that can
he's
make
not
it.
like the old him. It's a
Well,
Man now. You gotta
Heileman.
respect the Heileman. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Hey,
I always, even when I was in my prime, though, I always was like, I can't wait to be that old head that shows back up, and people go, "Oh my gosh, is that David?"
you're like the
I
Doc
couldn't wait
Hudson.
for that moment. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So to hear like people like these that still like can learn something, people still get like recommended to my YouTube channel for help and stuff. Like that's all I want to hear. Like that's awesome.
And I recommend it as often as I can because it is such a valuable video. And I'll put the link in the description to this. Like, if you haven't seen it, you really need to. It's a good video on kind of changing your perspective on racing as a whole, and a good lesson on taking accountability, which will, I think, just make your racing experience more enjoyable.
Yes.
But listen, David, I appreciate you for taking the time to come on the podcast, man. You're a legend in the sport, and I hope that David Heileman or David Heilemaniac can return to iRacing in some way, shape, or form. If you want to give a shout out to anybody before we let you go, now's your chance, man.
Hey, I'll just say the same thing I won like I said after I won the USAC World Championship is I was a big dummy that came in this game not knowing anything, and you believe you can do something, and you have a love for it, just go out and chase it, and the universe will reward you. Much love. Happy Valentine's Day.
All right, Dave, we appreciate you coming on, man.
Valentine's Day.
All right, that was the legend, the myth, the man, the legend, the Heilemaniac, David Heileman. Dude, what a guy! I hate it for him that he kind of burned himself out, and he kind of got to a point where almost like, if anybody knows Dr. Disrespect, where like he has this almost alternate, this character that he has to play. I hate that he kind of got to a point where that was what was causing him to get burned out on it. But I hope he eventually finds that drive to come back, because that's the personality that we need in the sport that makes it interesting for people to watch. That's why we bring people onto the podcast to show their personality and get people interested. You know what I mean? Like that's what.
There's a lot of cool personalities on iRacing.
That's why people loved, Dale Earnhardt Sr. and guys. Well, who's another guy that was in NASCAR? The people with the huge amounts of personality. That's the one. Like Tony Stewart was a mouthy dude. Had a big personality, a big mouth. Didn't care to, not speak his mind. Dylan Hauser. People for better or for worse. That's the personality is what drives or draws people in to want to watch and find out what's going to happen. That's what we need, and that's what we try to do here on the podcast.
We do. I feel like we did a good job.
Yeah. What's your what do we got coming up? We got
hot dates this weekend.
Oh yeah. I'm probably Hannah's off work this weekend. We're probably going on a hot date. We got We already talked about that, though. But we got NWRA Round 7 at Eldora, the Big E, baby. God, I love Eldora.
Oh, yeah.
I love Eldora. I'm so looking forward to the
You're not
next
ready?
race. What?
I'm ready, actually. Yeah, you are.
I'm
Are you
ready.
ready to throw some bombs?
Oh, dude, we go practice together. We'll throw some bombs on each other. Classic Eldora practice, baby. Come on.
Gotta throw the bombs.
Gotta throw the bombs. I'm looking forward to it. I gotta have a good run. If I'm hoping to stay in contention for the championship. I've had some good runs so far through the first 6 weeks, but coming down to the final stretch of 4 here, we gotta.
Finish.
Yeah, you've had.
I've been
good
running
weeks,
in the
but-
top 3.
Yeah,
Like, I've been there. Just
Yeah.
haven't finished there, dude.
yeah. You got it.
Just need to
You'll
finish.
get there. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We got that. Your next race, real race. What are we? Still the toilet bowl. When is that? That's next weekend.
First weekend of March.
The week.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
3 weeks away. 3 weeks away. I don't know.
That's what we got.
Other than that, no.
Other than that, nothing else, huh?
It's a leap year.
Oh, it is. It's a leap year. Got an extra day this year. Extra 24 hours added to the February bucket. How about that?
How do
Dude.
they do that? How do they really figure that out?
My understanding is
The Earth moves 365 and a quarter rotations.
correct.
That's why.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which is what
And you can't do it. You can't do it half a day.
Maybe that's why, like, sometimes, like, the
They can't do it
days
every
feel
other year.
different. Like, they can't. Oh, yeah, you're right. They can't. That makes sense. Well, anyways, you ready to wrap this thing up with the heart shades on the Valentine's Day special of the Plum Wild podcast? You ready to wrap us up with a front flip here? Whoa, easy. Don't want to get us banned here.
Also, just a fun fact. Me and my mom were having this conversation earlier. None of us know where these jeans came from. So they might be Mario's, because I know Mario's taller than me, but he's like he's got a tall torso, or his legs short.
How do you?
So like,
I'm not even gonna
but
ask.
I have a picture of us next to each other and our hips damn near the same spot. I'm gonna go do this now,
yeah.
I guess.
Go do your front flip. There we go. Got to send us off in style every single week. Oh, dude.
Dude, I had some serious air there. I felt like
No, that one was horrible. You landed on your back.
I'll redo it.
Yeah, do it again. That was better. That was a little bit better. Dude, the bed's gonna be broken, and it's
Dude,
not
that
gonna
was
be
sick.
from what the bed's gonna be broken by the end of the year, and it's not gonna be from what everyone.
I'm gonna need a
thinks it-
bed frame from chat, dude, because the center of my bed, look at it, the pegs are starting to go.
Yeah, and it's not. It's just because of the front flips, nothing else. You got anything else to say before we wrap this thing up?
Hot fudge and not hot chocolate, because hot chocolate's hotter than a hot fudge.
Interesting. All right. Well, all right. That'll do it for this week's episode of the Plum Wild podcast. Thanks again to David Heileman for coming on for this episode, and thanks again to Majula C Speed Shop for another sponsorship of an episode. Don't forget to use code PLUMWILD for 15% off at checkout. For myself and Damian Kiefer, thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you right back here in the next one.